Hi, everybody.
Hello.
It's Super Breakfast Friends Club, the show that this is.
I felt like that was gonna go somewhere, and then it didn't.
Just like this show.
Just like this show.
I'm Mike.
And I'm not.
And it's time now to play the theme song. Already. Just straight into it.
Can you guess what the show is?
Yeah, this theme song really just repeats the title over and over again, huh?
Yeah. It's not a very interesting or good theme song.
It lacks subtlety.
For sure.
I found out that it's composed by Guy Moon, who also wrote the Cow and Chicken theme song.
Oh, that's a lot of just kind of saying cow and chicken too.
Yeah, it really is just... he just likes to write theme songs where they just repeat the title of the show over and over again. Play it.
Mama had a chicken. Mama had a cow. Dad was proud. He didn't care how. Cow. Chicken. Cow and chicken.
That one's a good one though. I like that one.
Yeah, well, that one's got a catchier tune than Tack and the Power of Juju does.
It does. It also leaves a lot more room for the instrumentals, which are better.
Yeah. I guess Cow and Chicken is a shorter title, so it's punchier.
I guess.
Tack and the Power of Juju is a bad title.
It's not good.
I remember, like, when it came out, I was so disinterested in it. Because not only, the title is a real mouthful already, and then it also sounds like, I want to say, I'm not sure if it's problematic or not, you know?
Yeah, I do.
Do you feel the same way?
Yeah.
Kind of felt that way a lot watching this.
Like on the border.
Yeah.
Like am I just being white people offended?
Yeah. Because all the tribes people are white. Or at least they seem to be. It feels like it's appropriating from the wrong cultures while also not knowing what cultures it's appropriating from.
Yeah, it's like a cultural magpie, and it ends up being this kind of bland and weird thing.
It feels like the writers wanted to do something tribal, but didn't do a lick of research.
Well, they've invented their own tribe, and in so doing, just kind of given us this.
I think the fact that they fully invented it from scratch is why it's sitting on the border in my mind where I'm like, is this offensive or not?
Yeah.
It's like, it's fully fictional, but I don't know. Every now and then it just feels wrong. Anyway, during the opening, I got very distracted by the one shot where like a million tacks are all spliced in haphazardly with no thought to composition or meaning.
Yeah.
And one of them has the background of his shot included, and it looks like an editing mistake.
That's incredible. I missed that.
Yeah, it really jumped out at me.
Like it's only supposed to sit on screen for a split second and you're not supposed to notice that they just copy and pasted it.
Or like they didn't mean to copy the background along with him and they accidentally put in the whole thing. They forgot to green screen him out.
They didn't
Anyway.
have the model, it was actually just a still image.
Well, he was dancing.
Oh.
Tak and the Power of Juju, a game that I knew nothing about before today.
But now he has a birthday.
He does. The reason we're looking at this is that it is the 20th anniversary of Tak.
20 years? Shut your mouth.
Yeah, it's 20 years old. Can you believe that?
That's gross.
Tak and the Power of Juju was released in 2003 for PlayStation 2, GameCube, and Game Boy Advance. But I'm assuming that that third one was pretty different than the other two.
No. Was it just a direct port?
Yeah, they just put it straight on there. And it immediately bricks your Game Boy if you try and play it.
It runs at about 2 frames per second.
It was made by Avalanche Software, who mostly throughout their lifetime made licensed games. I don't know if Tak was their only original project, but if they did anything else, it was only maybe like one or two other things. They started out making Mortal Kombat ports and spin-offs. Then they made a bunch of Rugrats games.
Weird.
They made 3 Tak games, and then they got acquired by Disney, and then pretty much spent the rest of their lifetime making movie tie-in games for Disney.
Ooh.
And then eventually they made Disney Infinity, which I liked. But also,
Yeah, you put some time into that.
well, I put more money into it than I put time, to be honest.
I would argue that's worse.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the figures. This is the problem I had with Disney Infinity, is that I really liked the figures, but I didn't like the game that much. And as it moved more and more away from Disney and more into Marvel and Star Wars, which I don't care about very much, I kind of drifted away from it. And I think a lot of people did, which is why they shut it down after the Star Wars one.
Star Wars killed Disney Infinity.
Yeah, and then, I mean, not only Disney Infinity, but it killed Avalanche Software entirely. Disney just shut them down.
Oh no.
But then they were reopened by Warner Brothers for a darker period in their history.
Darker than Disney movie games?
Yeah, because the only thing they've done since their Disney movie games period is Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh.
So, wah wah. Tak was published by THQ, which is now defunct. Remember THQ?
I've heard the name batted about the internet.
There was a period where I feel like 2 of every 3 games that came out were published by THQ.
Yeah.
They made Destroy All Humans, Diblob, Saints Row, and Darksiders, and a bunch of other stuff. But
God, remember when DeBlob was the hot thing?
yeah, I do. I never played it.
I think I played the demo.
Because what was it on? I remember it being on the Wii.
I thought it was on, like, everything, but I played it on PC.
Maybe it was on everything. You know what? I think I did play the demo as well, actually, on PC, now that you mention it. But yeah, THQ, I will mostly remember THQ for publishing many licensed games. Lots of SpongeBob games.
Oh, yeah.
Things like that. They were all THQ. This game was funded by Nickelodeon. I can't figure out why.
Maybe because they were desperate for the television show based on Tak and the Power of Juju.
But they didn't make that television show for like another 4 years.
Well, they had to let it fester.
I guess so.
They had to let it ripen. They had to let it sit in the barrel for a couple years and ferment.
Yeah, I suppose. All the best ideas are fermented for a little bit too long. I mean, speaking of a little bit too long, so the idea for the game came from John Blackburn, the CEO of Avalanche Software, apparently in 1995. So it was festering way too long.
Yeah, that was really just rumbling around in his head for nigh on a decade.
I was reading about it, and apparently he wanted to make a platformer that wasn't too serious, that took place in an environment that felt more natural and not as blocky as other platformers of the time, and with complex puzzles that weren't immediately obvious to the player. And I think, had the game actually been made back when he had thought of it, maybe it would have stood out a bit more.
Yeah.
But as it is, when it came out, it got mixed to average reviews. GameSpot said, Tak and the Power of Juju can serve as a decent platformer, but if you're in the market for one, it shouldn't be your first choice.
Oh no.
And that it makes sense. This game was competing against Mario Sunshine and Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, I love Ratchet and Clank.
Me too.
Ratchet and Clank. That game was so fun.
Yeah. And they came out, like Mario Sunshine and Ratchet and Clank both came out, I think, the year before Tak did. So that was its competition, and it was late to the
They
game.
already had like 5 Ratchets and Clank out by then.
So I watched a bit of the gameplay for Tak. It felt outdated even for when it came out.
Oh no.
But it was cute. I would play through it. I would probably need to be streaming it to finish it, but I'd give it a shot.
I don't think I would.
Even with its mixed to average reviews, though, they still ended up having 5 games in the Tak series.
5?
Yeah, there are 5 Tak games.
That's so many Taks.
I know. That explains why I was hearing about it for years, because I remember there was that period, back when it came out, I was hearing about Tak all the time. They must have been marketing it really heavily, but I just never cared about it.
No.
Every time I heard that title, I was like, oh yeah, that's that game with the dumb title.
It's that weird game no one cares about.
Yeah, right. The show first aired August 31st, 2007. 4 years after the game came out. It has 1 season, you'll be surprised to hear.
No, my favorite show?
And it has 26 episodes. And it was animated by Nickelodeon Animation Studio, which makes it their first ever CG animated show. It was the first 3D show they had done.
Weird.
Because Jimmy Neutron was a few years earlier, but Jimmy Neutron's animation was outsourced. They didn't animate it themselves. This one was done in-house at Nickelodeon. Like, Nickelodeon Animation Studio had a hand in, like, every one of the Nickelodeon cartoons. But most of their famous shows were actually made by other studios, and Nickelodeon were just supervising. So, like, Ren and Stimpy, Rugrats. I think Rugrats was at Klasky Csupo. Ren and Stimpy was at Spumco. I don't know who the hell did Doug.
Doug just came to be.
But I do know that the first show that Nickelodeon did in-house was Rocko's Modern Life. And then they did Hey Arnold, and they did SpongeBob, and they did Invader Zim. So this studio is the one that did all my favorite Nickelodeon shows.
And that's why we're talking about Tak and the Power of Juju.
I just wanna like I'm contextualizing this in my head, because this that we watched is by the studio.
Yeah, when you put it that way.
It's by the studio that did Rocko's Modern Life, Hey Arnold, SpongeBob, and Invader Zim. And
when you set them side by side and you really measure the quality.
Yeah. Anyway, it's kind of unclear to me why this show was made, because there were no game releases near it. The 3rd game was 2 years before the show, and the 4th game was a year after the show. So it's like, was this a marketing push that was just really poorly timed, or what? I don't know.
My guess is just they didn't want to invest in a new IP. They're like, we've got this one sitting around.
Maybe this was their test for expanding into doing 3D stuff, and they were like, "Oh, we already have these assets that were made for a video game."
Right. Let's just shuffle them around and make a TV show out of it.
Yeah, they already had all the designs
done. Yeah, clearly they didn't have a strong writing vision.
No, there's no real plot in this show.
No, it's just kind of happenings from episode to episode.
Yeah. This show uses designs from the 2nd game, but shares its title with the 1st game. I'm not really sure why they used the title of the first game? They could have just called this show Tak. Because it's called The Power of Juju, but, like, there's, like, no Jujus.
There was a Juju.
There was one.
I would say call it Tak and the Power of Juju because even though it's a terrible name, you remember it.
It's true, I guess.
If it was just called Tak, nobody would know or care. But Tak and the Power of Juju, everybody knows, but nobody cares.
That is true. Yeah, I may not care about it, but I have heard of it many times.
20 years later, somebody can mention Tak and the Power of Juju, and you're like, oh, that game!
So this is one of those shows that's 2 segments, and of course we watched both, because that's what we do here.
Because we're really overachievers here.
Yeah.
We watch a whole episode of a 20-minute show.
Yeah, we don't just watch half of it and then step away. We could, but we don't, because you got to get your money's worth out of this show.
Jamie.
So this story is called Woody Fest. And
Such a bizarre name.
I know, this is what we're leading with. This is the pilot episode. Or actually, there's an unaired pilot, apparently, that's floating around out there, where some of the characters have different designs. So I'm interested in that.
Go dig that up.
This was written by Mitch Watson. I went and looked through Mitch Watson's IMDb, and his first ever writing credit was an episode of Freakazoid.
I remember Freakazoid.
I love Freakazoid.
I never watched it.
Apparently he also... Oh, we gotta watch some Freakazoid.
I don't think I had the channel.
What was it on? Kids WB, probably. Anyway, he also wrote for Puffy Amiyumi, Cat Scratch, Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, which I've heard was a good one. He wrote for Beware the Batman and All Hail King Julian, a show that is based on the lemur king from Madagascar.
Oh, I could tell.
Why won't they let Madagascar die?
Because they got their one slam dunk and they won't let it go. They're gonna make a spin-off series for every single character in that.
I don't know that Madagascar was a slam dunk.
I think it kind of was.
Was it? I watched it recently. I would call
I'm
it...
not saying...
Oh, you're not saying it was good?
No, I'm just saying it made them a lot of money.
Yeah, maybe it did. Or maybe they'll just make a million sequels out of anything that makes a little bit of money.
That's true.
I could kind of imagine all of these Penguins of Madagascar spin-offs are really... Anyway, Mitch Watson also created Big Nate, which is I think it's a show that's like currently airing. I've never watched it, but I watched a little bit of a trailer for it, and it looked nice.
I've never heard of it. I'm looking it up.
No, I think it's probably too new for you to have heard of it.
Oh yeah. I don't know this kid. I don't trust him.
I kind of like the style of it.
It's cute.
30 seconds of footage I watched. So the episode opens with some antelope doing an awkward courting ritual through the medium of janky CG animation. They were very floaty.
They were very floaty. It was a very weird scene that went on entirely too long before they got stepped on.
They get stepped on by the Woodies.
We're not told what they are.
No, I think we are expected to have played the games, because apparently the Woodies are the main antagonists of Tak 2.
Okay.
Though from what I could gather, they are not this large in the game.
Why did they embiggen them? Just so they could have... Because the entire plot revolves around them being big.
I know. The entire plot also revolves around them loving chickens, which doesn't seem to have anything to do with the game at all.
There isn't a whole chicken subplot.
No, I mean, there's I think in Tak 1 there's a tribe that worships chickens that you have to meet. But I don't
know what game had chickens?
What? Fable?
Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, did it?
There's a gun that you could shoot and turn things into chickens.
I don't remember that.
is the best gun.
You know what? I think I actually only played the PS3 Ratchet and Clanks. I think I watched all the cutscenes from the first ones on YouTube, so I was caught up.
No, who cares about the story? Those games are fun.
See, the thing I liked most about Ratchet and Clank was the cutscenes, so...
I just liked playing it.
Maybe the earlier ones were better, but the PS3 ones were very... It was like the Lego games, where it's basically a game about smashing boxes and picking up the things that fall out. And
It's also been about 20 years since I played it.
I get tired of that kind of game quite quickly. That's why I didn't like Sonic Boom, because that's what kind of game that was. Also, Sonic Boom is drastically unfinished and extremely broken, but...
That's all we do in Hammerwatch.
That's all I do in Hammerwatch. Because you're killing everything. I don't know, Hammerwatch is more fun.
Yeah.
So the people of Tak's tribe see the Woodies come in from a distance, and they start panicking.
Because this is a seasonal event. It's the running of the Woodies.
Let's take a moment to talk about the tribe. The Pupununu tribe.
That's them.
We talked a little bit about how they don't feel right.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know what it is. I can't even put my hand on it.
Yeah. It's not egregious. It's easy to overlook and just be like, these are fictional people in a weird world.
That's the thing. It's not... There's nothing that I saw where I was like, oh my god, this is so racist. It's just the whole time I'm just like, is it a little bit racist though? It feels a little bit.
I can no longer enjoy media because everything is racist.
So Tak is here. He's trying to tell the tribes people they don't have to run away from the Woodies. Tak is played by Hal Sparks, who did not play Tak in the game.
Weird.
In the game, Tak was played by Jason Marsden, who I know for playing Goofy's son, Max. And for playing Kovu in The Lion King 2. But I'm not going to talk a lot about Jason Marsden because he wasn't in this show.
Yeah, get out of here, Jason.
Hal Sparks played Michael Novotny in Queer as Folk. He played Zoltan in Dude, Where's My Car? And he played Donald Davenport in Disney's Lab Rats.
I definitely thought you were going to say Labyrinth, and then it just made me think of the David Bowie movie.
Disney's Labyrinth. Yeah, have they bought that yet? I don't know.
I hope not. Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
Actually, wasn't it the Jim Henson Company? They might just own it anyway now. Or maybe they only bought the Muppets. I don't know. Labyrinth. Oh, Jim Henson Company and George Lucas. Disney might own Labyrinth.
Oh no! Run, David Bowie!
I don't know. Hard to say. Looks like a lot of companies were involved in Labyrinth. Dang, I didn't know it was a box office bomb.
But it's so culturally powerful.
Yeah, a lot of things. I mean, like, critics are wrong all the time.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, it became successful on home video. There's loads of things like that. So common that something will do badly in the cinema and then home video will make it a success. Anyway, so Tak intercepts some servants, I guess, who are carrying the tribe's chief and his daughter out of town. As far as I can tell, the chief doesn't have a name. But we're not told anyone's name in this, so...
Yeah, we're given names kind of offhandedly.
Yeah, like way after the characters are introduced.
I mean, Locke does refer to himself in the third person constantly.
That's true. We are never, throughout this entire episode, we're never given a name for the chief, but that does not mean the chief doesn't have a name. They might have just forgotten to say it.
Yeah, this first episode wasn't really good at explaining the world that it had thrust us into.
It didn't even try.
No.
The chief is played by Maurice LaMarche.
I know that name.
You sure do. We've talked about him once before because he was the voice of Sleet in Sonic Underground.
It's so weird that that's where he showed up.
Yeah, but you also know him better as the voice of the Brain from Pinky and the Brain.
Yeah.
And you know him even better as the voice of a whole shed of Futurama characters.
It was like half the cast.
Yeah, but I think his most prolific Futurama roles are Kif, Morbo, Calculon, and Lure. He also plays horrible gelatinous blob and hedonism bot, I think.
I love Hedonism Bot.
And we've got his daughter Zarya, who is played by Dana Fainglass. Well, that's what she was called at the time. She's now called Dana Furman. I guess she got married.
I guess. How else would her name change like that?
So the Chief and Zarya were both created for the TV show. They're not in the games at all.
I'm surprised you even got a name out of her.
I know. Well, I found it on the wiki. I don't think they ever said it. I was surprised that I'm very familiar with one of her roles.
Go on.
She is the voice of Avina in Mass Effect.
Oh.
For anybody who doesn't know, Avina is the VI on the Citadel. It's like a tourism hologram. You can ask it questions about the main population center of the galaxy.
You can talk to her once in the first game, and then you never need to talk to her again.
Yeah, you have to talk to her once, right?
I don't remember.
I think there's one time when you have to, but then after that, I think in all of the games, she's fully optional except for that one time. Or you might have to talk to her again when you come back after the Citadel's being attacked at the end, actually. I know that you can talk to her and she's all glitching out. And she's like, everyone is dying.
That's fun.
She also played Penny in The Mighty Bee, which I've never heard of.
Nope.
She played Word Girl in Word Girl, which I've never heard of.
But she's got the leading role.
And there were like 100 episodes too. And she's the voice of Bubble Kitty in Bubble Guppies. I've heard of Bubble Guppies, but I don't know what it is.
Nope.
I think it's a preschool show. The Chief's about to hurt Tack, I guess, for trying to stop them from running away.
The Chief has a real knee-jerk reaction to everything.
Yeah, you know, not in this episode, but in the second episode, I did find the Chief pretty funny. Like the slightest thing, and he's banishing people from the tribe.
I find that funny in principle, but I don't think it was delivered especially well.
Oh no, I thought Maurice did a pretty good.
I mean, like story-wise, it didn't.
Oh yeah, I mean it's like the one funny joke in the whole thing, I think. But
it just kind of comes out of nowhere. It doesn't feel earned.
I think that's why it made me laugh, because it came out of nowhere. So anyway, Locke here shows up, and Locke is a character from the game. The entire first game is centered around Tack trying to rescue Locke, the tribe's hero, so that Locke can save the tribe. But Tack ends up saving the whole tribe in the process of trying to rescue Locke so that he can save the tribe.
That's a fun twist. He's rescuing the prince.
Yeah, that's basically the plot of the first game. And then in the third game, Locke is actually a playable character, so I guess he's popular in the games.
I guess.
He's played by Patrick Warburton, who also played Locke in the game. He is actually the only actor from the game to reprise his role in the show. He has a very distinctive voice.
If anyone is gonna hurt something small and defenseless, it's gonna be me.
He does.
It would be hard to replace Patrick Warburton. For anybody who doesn't know the name, what's he best known for? Kronk? That's what I best know him for.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, he's Kronk in The Emperor's New Groove. He's also Joe in Family Guy. He's Brock in Venture Brothers. He was the Tick in the live action The Tick. He was Lemony Snicket. The Tick. He was Lemony Snicket in the Netflix series of Unfortunate Events show. And apparently is the voice of Grandpa Shark in Baby Shark.
Well, why, Patrick?
Yeah, I didn't know that the sharks had voices.
Well, don't they have like a show or a movie or something?
Yeah, but I guess I kind of assumed that it was just the song on loop for 20 minutes every episode.
Well, they don't need to hire a whole team for that. You just plop your baby in front of an iPad with that on repeat.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought the show was. I did very much like Locke's line.
Fear not, poo-poo people.
That's just because he said poo poo.
Yeah, of course it is. It's a simple joke, but it's an effective one.
I like that our introduction to him is him being a big brave hero that immediately runs in the other direction.
Yeah. By the way, so you know there's the old guy who points out that he's running in the wrong direction?
Hmm.
This is a very important character who has one line, does nothing, and isn't introduced to us.
Okay.
That old man is Jibolba, who is from the game. He's the guy who trained Locke and Tack, and he's the one who sets you on your quest at the beginning of the game.
He seems like an NPC
I
in
know.
this. Just some rando person.
Yeah, he seems like a random background character that wouldn't have a name, but this is basically Tack and the Power of Juju's Professor Oak. He is played by Lloyd Sher, who did not play him in the game, obviously. He hadn't done much else of consequence, but he did take over as the voice of Fillmore in Cars after George Carlin died. Fillmore is the VW van who was played by George Carlin.
I've never seen Cars.
It's only okay.
Yeah, that's kind of why I've never bothered.
He also played Kip Darling in the Ratchet and Clank series, but I don't remember who that was.
Nope.
It's not one of the 4 Ratchet and Clank characters that I care about.
I know Ratchet, I know Clank, I know Chicken Gun.
I know Ratchet, Clank, Captain Quark, and Dr. Nefarious.
I forgot about Captain Quark.
Those are that's my entire Ratchet and Clank knowledge.
More than me.
Oh, and I know the plumber guy who's played by the janitor from Scrubs.
Why did they choose to create an entirely new character to muscle out Jibolba?
Yeah, right? Jibolba could have had the chief's role easily.
Yeah, maybe he just isn't reactive enough.
Maybe.
He's too wise.
I'm assuming he probably has a bigger role in later episodes. Because the fact that they've got him here, like, I don't know. They must do something with him at some point.
It's just an asset they had on hand.
Yeah, maybe. So Tack asks the townspeople why the Woodies keep attacking the village. And we get some dumb suggestions from people. The monobrow guy in the crowd is Kiko, another character created for the show, but he's important enough for me to speak about him here. Mostly because he's played by John DiMaggio.
Yeah.
Could you tell?
Yeah, well, him not so much, but I knew that John DiMaggio was in the cast.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
think the guy that speaks after him is very clearly just John.
Oh, really? I didn't even notice.
Look, the magical warrior!
John DiMaggio, best known for playing Bender in Futurama, and Jake the dog in Adventure Time. I did not know that he was Marcus, the main character of Gears of War, until I looked him up for this. And he's also Dr. Draken in Kim Possible. So this baboon that's here.
I don't agree, drum-beating baboon.
It's not a baboon.
Yeah, it's an orangutan.
It sure is.
I laughed at this joke.
I like the character. I didn't like that they called him a baboon.
Yeah, but basically, like, the baboon plays the drum for a second, and then the joke is that Tack understands that as the baboon's opinion, but he doesn't agree with it. And then the baboon is gone in the next shot and never appears again.
Yeah.
I thought that this was going to be because this baboon's in the opening.
He is. He's a big enough role that I took notice.
Yeah, but I don't think he appears again in the show.
Ever?
Well, I don't know. I think orangutans appear because this orangutan is from the game. Because the whole game is a platform game where you use different animals to solve puzzles, and the orangutan is one of the animals that you use.
Oh, like Rambi the rhino.
Yeah, kind of like that. There are also rhinos that you ride, so exactly like Rambi. But the orangutan
Tack does summon a rhino.
summons a whole fleet of them.
I was really hoping that they would merge together into a rhino homunculus.
A rhino Gramphaloon.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the game, the orangutans, I guess they hang out near trees. I watched a video of some of it, and there was an orangutan hanging out near a banana tree, and I saw the player give the orangutan a sheep, and then the orangutan puts the sheep in the tree and bends it down and catapults the sheep into the air.
That's fun.
So
Where does it go?
it goes up to a higher platform, and then it's up there now.
Cool.
That's not what this orangutan's doing, but anyway.
I think more of them should have had drums that they used to communicate, if we're being honest.
I just would have wanted this one to just be an actual full-fledged member of the tribe, kind of like the librarian in Discworld, who is just an orangutan.
I think he should have replaced Kiko as our third person.
Oh, that would have been great. Kiko doesn't do much.
Nah.
Tak says that he's going to stop the Woodies, which nobody thinks he can. And he tries to summon a Juju to protect the town, but instead he makes it rain rhinos for some reason.
They get struck by lightning and turn into a rhino golem.
Wait, is that what happened?
No.
Oh, that's what you wanted to happen.
Yeah.
I just had a sudden moment of like, did I really not pay attention to this part?
It's easy to just zone out for that.
Yeah. So there's a huge pile of rhinos now, and the whole town gets stampeded by villagers and rhinos and such, and Tak's lying on the ground. And this is where Jira shows up to encourage him. And again, she isn't introduced. We're not told her name.
No, we are not.
She's just here. I got this name from the wiki. This is another character created for the show. I don't think there is a female character in the first game.
Interesting.
Actually, no. I think all the female characters are Jujus. I think that's the problem. Because you have, when I was watching the footage, there is this kind of green Juju that's hanging around with Tak all the time and telling him what to do. And I think Jira basically replaces her. But I don't know why they wouldn't just use her.
Because then Tak would have no reason to go summon a Juju.
Well, she doesn't. She's the tutorial Juju.
So?
I don't know what she does. She looked like she was covered in leaves or something.
I think her name is Flora.
Is that based on anything? Or?
Based on the fact that I'm looking at Tak and the Power of Juju images, and there's a green Juju named Flora.
Okay. I prefer to imagine that you just pulled that from nothing.
Excuse me, I'm extremely professional. I take this job very seriously.
Yeah, I should have looked her up. But it seems like she is like the female lead of the game, so I thought it was strange that she doesn't seem to be in the show.
Maybe she'll show up later in
maybe she
season
will.
2. Oh.
Good one. So Jira is played by Carrie Walgren, who has a huge credit list. She apparently is Jessica in Rick and Morty. She has played Zatanna in a whole bunch of DC Comics things. She was Rain in Tales of Symphonia. She was Saya in Blood Plus.
Oh.
She plays Uroko, Onbu, and Hana in Naruto. And she's Kasumi in Dead or Alive. The beach volleyball game. But also
I know what
fighting
it
game.
is.
So Tak goes with Jira and Kiko to some kind of like mountain temple place.
I don't know. It's where the Jujus live, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know. I tried to look up whether this was a place from the game that we're just supposed to know about, but I couldn't find anything. So, confusing. We're not told what this place is or why they're there, but that's where they are now.
It's apparently a place of great spiritual importance.
So he summons an annoying Juju, who basically tells them that he's a mind reader, but also that he just makes stuff up, and they wouldn't know any different.
Yeah, he spends a long time reading somebody's mind in a way that doesn't matter to the plot.
You are worried your sister Zarya will humiliate you by telling everyone about your favorite...
Stop that! You're supposed to read Tack's mind.
But yours is so interesting.
Yeah, he is called the Psychic Juju. Apparently he was introduced in Tak 2, but in Tak 2 he was just called the Mind Reader Juju. I think Psychic Juju is a better name.
Yeah. Does Tech not have any control of which Juju shows up?
I would assume that he does, but like I don't know. It doesn't seem useful at all, does it? If he's a mind reader, what, Tak's trying to read his own mind to get an idea?
Right.
Doesn't make any sense.
Is he gonna go read the minds of the Woodies?
Maybe that's why they changed it to Psychic Juju, so it's like he's reading the future rather than just his mind. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Psychic Juju is played by S. Scott Bullock, who apparently is best known for playing Eddie the Cow in Barnyard.
Oh, okay.
That's the show with the male cows that have udders.
Why did you bring that to my attention?
It's the only thing I know about that show. I've never watched it. He also, this drove me crazy when I found this out. So he played the Lemonhead Cannibal in Monkey Island 3. But then when they did the remake of Monkey Island 1 and added voices, he played the Red Skull Cannibal. But like, why wouldn't they make him the Lemonhead one in both?
That's weird.
Like, someone else plays the Lemonhead Cannibal in the Monkey Island 1 remake. I'm like, that's the guy.
Real weird.
But they did, he played Otis in both Monkey Island 4 and the Monkey Island 1 remake. So at least they kept him consistent for that character. He also played Dr. Damage in Butt Ugly Martians.
What a great sentence.
You remember that show?
No.
I remember the theme song.
We are the Martians, the Butt Ugly Martians. We are the Martians, the Butt Ugly Martians.
It was a dumb show.
Those guys.
Oh, you recognize them?
Only from my nightmares.
And he also played Dash Baxter in Danny Phantom. I don't know who that is because I've never even seen Danny Phantom in my life.
It's not great.
Yeah, I figure I wouldn't like it because it's a Butch Hartman show and I've never liked one of those. So what is it the Psychic Juju says? He tells them to size the enemy up or down.
Yeah, which I didn't think was a logic puzzle that needed a whole lot of thought, but
No,
it takes about 8 minutes.
He might as well have said shrink the enemy.
Or don't.
So yeah, in this show called Tak and the Power of Juju, we have now passed the entire inclusion of Jujus in this episode.
Yeah, but we have Juju as a magical force.
Do you think that's what it means?
That's what I assumed it meant as soon as I heard the name of the game.
I just thought the Jujus were things. Because I watched the beginning of the game, and in the beginning of the game, you are being talked to directly by Jibulba, and he refers to you as a Juju.
Huh.
Like the player is a Juju in the game.
I guess Tak does just kind of refer to it as magic.
Yeah, I definitely got the sense that Juju specifically meant like a spirit in the context of Tak and the Power of Juju.
That's what I'm coming to understand, which is confusing because Juju in our world typically just means some kind of magic.
Yeah. Does it specifically mean like bad magic?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
Maybe a more primal magic.
The word Juju specifically is the thing that feels problematic to me.
Yeah.
I think if they didn't constantly talk about Juju, I would just be like, all right, this isn't any kind of cultural specific. But Juju is a very specific, like, African thing.
Yeah.
In a general sense, the term Juju can be used to refer to magical properties dealing with good luck. Okay.
An object revered by certain West African peoples and used as a charm or fetish, or the power associated with a juju.
It is neither good nor bad, but it may be used for constructive purposes as well as for nefarious deeds. Well, that's not what it means in the world of tack.
No.
In the world of tack, it means a funny ghost genie with a swirl on his forehead who makes stuff up and pretends to have powers. So we have a little montage here of Tack failing to do anything.
Tack failing, just in general.
Yeah, he sets a trap and gets caught in it. He builds a wall, it falls down.
But on the other side of this wall is Kiko.
Yeah, who's built a sheep gun? What is that about?
It's a little odd that it's sheep specifically.
Yeah.
Like, put some rocks or something in it, some big old boulders, and shoot that at the woodies. I don't know what a sheep is gonna
It
do.
would make more sense. Sheep were a big deal in the first game, because I think sheep are basically like the power stars of the game.
You've collected a sheep.
Yeah, so the plot of the first game, as far as I could tell, is that all of the townspeople have been turned into sheep. And you
Oh,
have to
okay.
rescue them.
So it's like finding the 101 Dalmatians in Kingdom Hearts.
I guess so. That's the impression I got, anyway. So they find Locke hiding, and as he tries to get away from them so that he isn't forced to be the hero that he's supposed to be, he trips and falls into a chicken house.
How convenient for the plot.
And this is where Kiko tells us that Woodies love chickens for some reason. I thought it was going to turn out not to be true, but it's true.
Yeah, they dress Locke up as a big chicken, and literally, as the Woodies show up, they keep chanting chicken over and over again and chase him.
Yeah. Apparently this chicken suit is actually from the first game.
I have seen pictures of it in my long studies.
It's, from what I read, it sounds like wearing the chicken suit allowed Tack to turn into a chicken so that he could hover and throw bombs.
It's like they really wanted to incorporate all of these game elements, but they did it in a strange way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, chickens throwing bombs. I get it.
I mean, the last time I went to a farm, I couldn't tell you how many bombs chickens threw at me.
Locke is trying to lure the Woodies to him, I guess.
Yeah, what exactly was their plan?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. I think that the plan plays out exactly as Tack expected, because he was waiting. So when the Woodies see Locke, they start chasing him, and he runs. And he runs straight off a cliff, and then remembers too late that he can't fly.
Wait! The Lock can't fly!
So
Yeah, like, Tack clearly had a plan, but I don't think he shared it with Locke.
Oh no, I don't think so either. But he clearly knew that this was going to happen because he was waiting by the cliff with a fishing rod to snag Locke and pull him back up when he fell off the cliff.
I think that was probably my favorite joke, when he pulls Locke back up and Locke believes he actually can fly and immediately jumps off the cliff again.
Yeah, Locke misunderstands what happens.
It worked, Tack. I can fly! I can fly!
That was my favorite part.
I actually forgot that happened until you said it. But it turns out the entire thing was pointless because the Woodies just climb back up the cliff and start chasing them again.
Yeah.
So, although we did get a good joke out of it, it really didn't It was really just wasting time.
Yeah, we're in the same place as we were before.
And then that's when I think Locke... They're accidentally leading the Woodies back towards the village now. And Locke says something about how big they are, and then suddenly Tack thinks, oh yeah, I can shrink them.
Suddenly that cryptic message makes sense.
And then he just does that. Like, effortlessly.
Yeah, all of them at once, itty bitty.
He could have done that at any time.
We wouldn't have even had to watch this dumb episode.
But now, I mean, the Woodies are still around. They're just like ant-sized. And they carry Locke away, and he says,
I'm not sure, but I think I just got engaged.
I guess we're to believe that Woodies love chickens, not in a way that they want to eat them or smash them, but marry them.
it's romantic. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing. That's the thing, because it changed the entire thing for me here. Because now it's romantic. And I hadn't been thinking about it in that way.
What, like they're just on a wild love hunt and they're stomping through the village looking for someone to marry?
Yeah, I guess so. But I think this is just a common way that things end in Tack, because I looked up the ending to the first game, and spoilers for anyone who cares, but the first game ends with you turning the villain into a sheep and then leaving him with a bunch of horny rams.
I don't like that sentence.
No, but that's what happens. And then they're just like, ha ha ha. And I'm like, I don't know, guys. Don't know if this is okay to do in 2023. Well, even in 2003. Anyway, that's the end of that segment.
Yeah, now we're on to part 2. Loser.
The Woodies are tiny now, and Locke is married to them. The end.
All of them.
Yeah, now we're on segment 2. Loser, written by Peter Hastings. Peter Hastings had written a lot for Tiny Toons and Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain.
Shows that no one has heard of.
And now he wrote for this.
What happened?
Apparently he also more recently wrote for the Kung Fu Panda TV show. I've never seen it, but I liked the movie that he didn't write for.
Thanks, Peter.
Thanks for nothing. So we open with Locke telling a campfire story about sometime he was almost killed by a lava rock. And this is where we're introduced to Slog.
Whose name we don't get in the usual Tack fashion.
Yeah, we're not told who she is. But yeah, her name is Slog. I found that out from the internet. She's very excited about Locke's story. And it's very clear that she thinks they're a couple.
To save his lady love fair maiden. Me! Muscle boy doing it for me! Me!
Do the Woodies know?
I don't know, maybe they're open.
Maybe.
I mean, if he's married to all of them.
Yeah, I guess they have to be.
Unless it's like a hive mind situation. I can't say I know a lot about how that works in a relationship.
No, me neither.
I went on one date with a hive mind, so I'm not an expert. It didn't go beyond that.
Slog is played by Megan Kavanagh, who is best known as Jimmy Neutron's mom.
Cindy?
Judy.
Judy, okay.
Yeah.
Close enough.
I think isn't Cindy the blonde girl?
Cindy, yeah, that's his rival.
That's right, yeah. She also played Hillary in The Mighty Bee. And I recognized her from a single appearance she made in a Friends episode.
Why?
I don't know, it just stuck out to me. She played a woman named Louisa, who came from animal control to try and catch Ross's monkey.
Marcel?
Yeah. And then it turned out that she went to high school with Rachel and Monica, and they were mean to her because she wore overalls.
Oh, the 90s.
It's pretty clear that Locke's story is made up, but Tack seems to be the only one not falling for it.
I mean, he tells it in such a compelling way. Who cares whether it's true or not?
I mean, I do. I don't like it when this fictional cartoon show makes up stories.
This fictional cartoon man. I'm not gonna let him get the fictional cartoon credit.
I guess his story is just as made up as everything we're watching here, really. Anyway, Tak doubts Locke's story, and the chief gets mad at him and makes him leave. I don't think he gets full banished. He just has to leave the campfire area for now.
Yeah, he banishes him, and I thought it was going to be something more serious, but Tak just kind of walks a little bit away and slams his head into a tree.
Yeah, I kind of thought this episode was going to be about Tak trying to get unbanished when it first happened.
But it turns out, no.
Tak's mad that he never gets credit for everything he does for the tribe. So they roll a boulder down towards the campfire, Tak and Jira. Seems like a bad idea.
Yeah. I mean, you're putting all of these lives at stake just to show that one person is lying, but whatever, go off.
The chief sends Locke to stop the boulder, like in the story, and Locke admits that it was just a story. So Tak saves Locke at the last minute by deflecting the boulder with his magic, but I guess he crushes Jira's house with it?
Yeah, it's never brought into the foreground. It literally happens in the background, and it
Yeah.
isn't until after the boulder lands on it you realize it's even hit something.
I went back to look again, and like squinting at that background, I couldn't make out what it was back there. The only reason I think it's Jira's house is because she says my room was in there.
Yeah.
By the way, Jira is the chief's daughter. Did you know that?
I did once you said the name of the princess, because the Juju mentions the princess's name and says that it's her sister.
You're right, okay. But we're never told in this episode that Jira is the chief's daughter. Or that Zarya is the chief's daughter either.
I mean, that one's a little bit obvious.
No, but we're never told her name.
Oh, yeah.
So,
True.
like, you would have to have outside knowledge to connect those two things.
You're right. I literally only pieced it together when you told me her name outside of watching the show.
Yeah. So the chief banishes Locke from the tribe. And the next day, Jira asks Tak how he's going to fix it. Because it's his responsibility. And, you know, he is, like, trying to get the responsibility off his back. But it's like, you did all of this, Tak.
Yeah.
Of course it's
You
your
did all
fault.
of this just to make a monkey out of him.
Meanwhile, Slog is destroying the jungle in grief.
No more prominent chin! No more far away, slightly confused eyes!
It's so bizarre because it doesn't really tell us who Slog is. It doesn't highlight her very much, and yet she has a fairly prominent role in this episode.
Yeah, and then I don't think she's a very prominent character. Like, from what I was reading about her on the wiki, it sounds like she mostly just appears in the background.
Well, they gave her something to do. That's nice.
Yeah. She wants something to remember Locke by, and then she spots a giant boulder sitting up on top of the mountain, precariously.
It's Mount Precarious. What do you expect?
Was that what it was called?
No.
Oh, it should have been.
That's me making up a fib on the spot.
Okay. They find Locke in the jungle. He has tied himself to a stump to be eaten by bugs.
Yeah, they walk up, they see him there and ask who did it, and he says that he did.
Yeah. Quite impressive knots.
Yeah, I don't think it's physically possible to tie oneself up like that.
Oh, maybe he's lying again.
No, this time I think he's telling the truth, but he's a cartoon.
Tak gets Locke to yell, telling him that he can do anything if he uses the howl of the hero. And they restore his confidence by using magic to destroy things while he screams at them.
Yeah, we get to listen to that exact same soundbite 7 million times.
It goes on for a long time.
Look! Take down that bamboo!
Okay, enough already. Enough yelling. We get it. Thank you.
It's 50% of the episode.
Meanwhile, Slog has carved the giant boulder on the mountaintop into a statue of Locke. She hasn't finished the chin yet, but she's working on it.
Yeah, it's not impressive enough yet.
That night, Locke shows up at the campfire and screams at everyone.
It's the scream of the hero.
And Slog hears it. And the Locke statue boulder tumbles off the mountain and tumbles down toward the campfire, just like last time.
It was so precarious that his constant yelling has jostled it and endangered the town in the exact same way.
But luckily, he's got new confidence. So this time he wants to stop the boulder because he thinks he can do it.
And this time he can't stop it.
And Tak is trying real hard to convince him not to try. He tells him the truth that they were the ones breaking everything for him, but Locke just doesn't believe it. And he gets crushed by the boulder.
Ow.
He does save the puppy things, though,
He does.
that were going to get crushed.
But then he's just like standing under the boulder ready to catch it. And then everything just cuts to black when it hits him. I thought that was funny.
I did think it was funny because technically he did save the puppies and stop the boulder.
Yeah. And then we cut to Locke telling the story by the campfire. And we don't see Locke right away. We just hear his
I
story.
wonder why.
I was really wondering what direction they were going to go. I was wondering if he was going to be like a pancake man.
Oh no, I guessed it.
Oh, did you?
Yep.
My guess was that he was a pancake man.
What it actually was is that his head is now the giant stone head that Slog punched.
She really did like carve that with punches, and at one point she's like chewing it to carve
Yeah.
it.
It was confusing, but if that's how she chooses to display her love, who am I to question?
And then that's the end.
It was a weirdly short episode that went nowhere and did nothing.
Yeah. It was. It felt way shorter than the other one. Nowhere near as much happened.
It was literally 50% screaming and smashing things.
Yeah. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed Tak and the Power of Juju.
Because we didn't.
There were a lot of good actors in this show. That's what's baffling. This is like one of the highest budget voice casts we've seen.
The thing about this show for me is that it's not bad. It's inoffensive, but it's so mediocre that I kind of wish it were worse.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're not getting the fun out of it that we get out of like one of the really
Rayman?
bad. Like, I'm thinking like a Street Fighter or a Mega Man, Donkey Kong Country.
Oh, Donkey Kong Country. We'll see you soon. It just kind of exists and fills a time slot.
Yeah, that's what it does. And that is all that it does.
And that's all it did for 26 episodes.
Would you like to hear about the legacy of this show?
Oh, please.
So Jira, Kiko, the Chief, and Zarya all went on to appear in the last two Tak games, which were made after the show.
That's pretty impressive. That's like the whole original cast.
Not Slog, though.
Oh.
Slog never appeared again.
Rest in peace, Slog.
Yeah, so if you pick up a copy of Tak and the Guardians of Gross, or Tak Mojo Mistake, you will you will see Jira, Kiko, the Chief, and Zarya in them, apparently. I don't know, because I will not pick them up.
Will not. What if somebody demands it for your summer marathon?
I don't think Tak has enough games to marathon.
You don't know.
I do know, it has 5.
What if you take a really long time beating them?
Maybe if I did like a Nickelodeon marathon.
You'd be playing a lot of Nicktoons Racing.
I'd probably leave those ones out. You know what I'd probably do? I'd probably play one game based on each. I'd probably play the first game based on each Nicktoon.
And then all of Tak.
And then all of Tak. If the people demand it.
I demand it.
You're not people. You don't count.
Can't keep using that against me.
Yes, I can, and I will. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone, for this.
Whatever this was.
Tak and the power of Juju. I can't believe you forgot already.
Oh, thank you. All I knew was it was the birthday boy.
Happy birthday, Tak. I hope you get a new game, and that I don't play it.
Happy birthday, Tak. May you rest in peace forever in the afterlife.
Rest in piscine.
In the pool?
Rest in the pool.
I guess that's a nice way to go.
If you'd like to support whatever it is we're doing here, consider going over to patreon.com/superbreakfastfriendsclub and joining Jamie Core, our club VIP of the moment.
The coolest person we know.
Yeah, thanks, Jamie. You're rad. You could also go to coffee.com/superbreakfastfriendsclub and do a similar thing, I guess.
If you're into that.
What else happens? Who cares? Follow me at Skull Pirate Mike in places.
Hither, thither, yon, all abouts, whereabouts.
Just check it out. Just check out my name. If it's there, I'm there. If it's not, I'm not. If it's there and it's not me, then it's an imposter. And you won't know about that.
But you are allowed to fight them as our champion.
That's the only thing you're allowed to do if it's an imposter. I legally grant you the power
Of Juju?
of Juju. You have
Are
been
you the Juju?
You have been legally granted the power of Juju. Everyone listening to this right now. That's legal. You can take that to court.
It turns out that this episode is actually just a cursed tape. And now you have the power of Juju.
I listened to that one episode of Super Breakfast Friends Club and now I've been cursed with the power of Juju.
This big-headed guy keeps showing up and reading my thoughts, and now I have to fight every Skull Pirate Mike I encounter.
Bye.
Oh, hold on, I'm getting a phone call.
Uh-oh.
What's up?